80% of men are ready to leave America for good. I made a video years ago, almost 10 years ago, titled Men Leaving the West, where I predicted men in Western society, specifically the United States, Canada, Australia, these countries would get fed up enough and begin walking away from Western society. And that is now beginning to happen on a much larger scale with the Passport Bros and other men in general. Today's video comes from a smaller channel called Brandon Quabina. His channel will be linked in the description of the video so that you can go check him out and support him. Watch to the end of the video to fully understand the implications of so many men now deciding that they are going to leave the West and America, especially, for good. And of course, don't forget to follow us over on Rumble. You never know what can happen on this platform. So go ahead and follow us over there. It's linked in the description of the video. And we'll begin momentarily after a word from Angry's Crypto Academy.
You don't have a side hustle yet, you need to get on that. This world is crazy, and the extra money you can make from crypto can be a total game changer. So, I checked out the crypto course from Angry Crypto, and I was skeptical because that stuff can all sound like gibberish to me. But honestly, it was written so simply, even a 5th grader could understand it. Trust me, y'all, if you want to get into crypto and make an extra $100 a day just working for an hour, you have got to hop on their course. Click the link in the description for the best side hustle out there.
So what I was talking to y'all about the other day is how I'm not, or how I can't afford being here, especially right now, the way things are, what's happening for us, like the economy. And with me being a older millennial, not married, single, no kids, I believe I'm at a position where, one, I have nothing to lose, because like I say, I'm single, I have no car. I don't have no car. I have no cars or car. I really don't have any kind of property that I own here, so I don't have that. I also don't have any children, so that's not really weighing me down in terms of wanting to move overseas. So I have those working for me in my favor. I'm not saying that I do not want to have children, but I do not want to have children here because of the aforementioned economy. I pretty much can't afford it. So, God willing, I do want to have children, but it's not going to be here in the States. So, that's that. Also, I guess this will be an add-on to what I just explained about, not wanting children. It's just the cost of everything. Cost of living here in the States is ridiculous. It's unless you're making not even 6 figures, but depending where you living, it really depends on where you live. But I'm here in Georgia, so, but even here in Georgia, everything is expensive. So, I'm close to Atlanta Metro. Well, city of Atlanta. I'm about 15, 20 minutes away. But I know even in the city of Atlanta, things are expensive. So, of course, compared to like your New Yorks and your San Francisco, Los Angeles, Chicago's, yeah, it's still a bargain, but you still playing an arm and a leg here, and I can't afford it. I just can't. So, yeah, I can't afford it. Cost of living is ridiculous. And I don't see any kind of change as far as like the cost of living. One, because this country is broke. What I mean by broke, this country owes, what, $33 trillion worth of debt? And I don't see them paying it anytime soon. So,
now, this is a very important point. The United States actually owes $35 trillion in debt right now. $35 trillion. And it's actually way more than that, but a lot of it is kept offshore. It's something I learned from a lot of you guys in the comments. I made sure to point this out. Oh, now, I was going to say Obama, right? That guy. Trump just paused all loans, all grants from the federal government. So there will be no more loans, no more grants from the federal government. And you already have lawsuits being filed by people like Letitia James, who tried to prosecute him for everything and anything in New York, suing the Trump administration for taking away federal grant money and loans and federal loans. Basically, America is broke. Modern women are broke. All of these programs that these people are depending on and living on are basically going bye-bye. The only things that Trump is not touching right now are Social Security and Medicaid. He's cracking down on things like food stamps. He's cracking down on public assistance. This is what they're saying. They're saying that he allegedly is going to be changing the tax credit, where women will no longer be able to get $5,000, $10,000 refunds from the federal government during tax season per kid. Because what a lot of women do is they have a bunch of kids by different baby daddies. Each kid, they might get somewhere between $5,000 and $10,000 a head, something like that. So let's say it's $5,000. That's $20,000. They have 4 kids. That's $20,000. Mommy's going shopping. So they get fat. It's basically a form of wealth redistribution. They didn't work for that money, but because of that tax credit, they're going to get money back that they never actually worked for. And they're like, okay, now it's time for me to go on vacation. So they have a bunch of kids from a bunch of different fathers. All right, 4 kids, 4 baby daddies, getting back like $20,000 that they did not work for, $20,000 refunds. And then on top of it, they're getting all of that child support. And then on top of it, they're getting, they get like Section 8. So they're not paying rent. No rent. And they're getting, their electricity bill is being covered. So they're not paying rent. They're not paying for electricity, right? They're getting food stamps. And they're also getting WIC. So they get food stamps for the children. They get food stamps for themselves. And it's pretty interesting because it's like almost $300 and a lot. It's almost $300. I think it's like maybe it's $290 now. $290 a person. And it's 5 of you in there, 5, right? Because it's the mother and her 4 children, right? That's $1,450 a month. I'll say a year, right? A month in food stamps. If we multiply that by 12, that works out to $17,400 a year in free food that she is collecting. Okay? She is getting almost $18,000 a year in food and food expenses covered by us, by our tax dollars, to subsidize her kids. And I mean, what about rent? Rent is crazy today. Rent is insane today. You are not finding a 3-bedroom apartment like in most places today. New York, California, you're not finding that for less than, let's say, $2,500 a month. But she has Section 8, so that's all covered. So that $2,500 rent, it's more than that. It's more than that. I know it's more than that, but we're gonna go with $2,500. We're gonna multiply that by 12. That's 13,000. 13,000. Not 13. 30,000. That's $30,000. What the hell? Holy cow! I did the math right. 2,500 multiplied by 12 is 30,000. And then if you add on the 17,400, that's 47,000. 400. Okay? Let's say that, let's not even do $20,000 in refunds. Let's say she's only going to get $10,000 in refunds from those tax credits. All right? So we have the 30,000, right? And you've already done the math, but I'm doing it for people listening. $30,000 and the 17,400 in food stamps and the $10,000 from that tax credit. Now we're at $57,400. And this woman does not work. This woman does not work. She has no job. So now she's collecting just from us, from the state. She's getting this amount of money. Oh, but wait, there's more. Because, like I said, there are utilities. But she doesn't have to pay those utilities. All right. Let's see. What are normal utility? We're gonna ask ChatGPT cost for a family of 4 in 2025. And let's say in New York City, right? Let's go for that. So the approximate amount is about $667.74 for a family of 4. All right. And what about for 12 months? All right. So we're just going to multiply that by 12, and that actually ends up working out $667.74 ends up working out to $8,012.88. Notice again, we didn't even tack on the child support yet. We're going to tack on the child support. We didn't tack it on yet. So let's go ahead and tack on the child support. That now works out. So when we add on, we're doing that in a moment. But let's go ahead and add in. We're at $57,404. Now let's add in the utilities. Which is $8,000. We'll round it off to $8,000. That is $65,400 that this woman is now receiving for her and her kids, and she does not work. $65,000 in benefits. Okay. Now, what is the average, right, child support monthly payment for a woman in New York City? Okay. We're going to use that as a base. So the average monthly child support payment. All right. So the payment, it varies based on several factors. Okay. Just give me an average. Give me an estimate. Right. Give me an estimate, ChatGPT. So a rough estimate for one child is around $1,000 to $1,500 per month. That is what the average man is paying per child. $1,000 to $1,500 per month. Let's go with the lower number. That's $12,000. $12,000 a year per child. This is okay. Now you guys are beginning to see. Where things get absolutely insane. And remember, I said that she had 4 children. So many of you have already done the math. That works out to $48,000 a year. So she's already getting $65,400 from the state, just from the state, and she does not work. But she has 4 children. It's about $1,000 per child, and she spaces them out. So 4 children by 4 different men. That's what most of these women are doing. All right. Different baby daddy for each child. So now let's add this up now. So that's $48,000 a year in child support. She is pulling in $113,400 in child support. Not in child support, in total annual revenue. And from with the combining child support, combining public assistance, everything. And of course, I didn't include everything in there. There's way more in there. This is one of the reasons why I keep on telling y'all you should be focused on getting your money, focusing on crypto. You should not be focusing on getting into relationships with modern women because they don't like you. They really do not like you. They do not like us. They just want our attention. They want our time. They want our money. They do not actually want us. All right. It's time for y'all to get right with God and get into Angry's Crypto Academy. All right. Get right with God and get your money right. Because hard times are coming, y'all. I keep telling y'all, just look at what happened in Greece, where the ATM stopped working and they chained up the bank doors 10 years ago. And you literally had teenagers selling physical intimacy for €3, about the price of a cheese sandwich and a lot of y'all were saying, Angry, that's still €2 too many. Protect your wealth and safeguard your future using crypto, guys. All right, because it's not going to be pretty out there. And Angry's Crypto Academy is going to teach you how to buy, sell, trade, and invest in crypto. And we'll tell you exactly which coins will mint new millionaires and how to spot potential coins to invest in. So don't miss out on that. The Academy is actually linked in the description of the video if you want to go and check that out. But guys, do not fool around because hard times are coming. And the numbers, the math that I just did for you, it does not factor in Medicare. It does not factor in Medicare. Okay, because her and her kids are all getting Medicare, right? So I mean, it's pretty insane. Like if you have a family of 5, a mother and her 4 kids, how much in medical benefits are they all getting annually? How much in medical benefits are they all getting annually on Medicare? Medicaid, it's Medicaid. Medicare is for old people, Medicaid is for needy people. All right? On Medicaid. Use NYC as a base. So we're already talking New York. Okay. So this is where, guys, this is psychotic. The income eligibility for Medicaid in 2024 is for a family of 5 is up to $81,000 annually. This means, okay, so give me an estimate of benefits they are getting, right? Okay, so so a rough estimate for comprehensive coverage, including hospital service, clinic visits, medications, preventative care, and more, could be around $20,000 to $30,000 per year for a family of 5. So a mother with her 4 kids and herself. $20,000. That's usually what they would be. That's what she would be spending in health that's what she would end up spending in medical coverage if she had to do it all on her own. So she's getting $20,000 to $30,000 in healthcare per year. Let's add that on there too. Let's add that on. It counts. So now we're up to 100, and I took the lesser number, not the 30. I took the 20. That's $133,400. Okay. And of course, these people also qualify for a bunch of other things. They qualify for a bunch of other things. Like, for example, these people will get access to charities, women's charities, loans, grants. It's a scam, y'all. It's a scam. What these people are doing is one big scam. And we are the ones paying for the scam. We're the ones paying for it and subsidizing the living of these people who are scamming us. It's no wonder why these men are walking away from society, why these men no longer want to participate in society, why these men actively want to give up on society and not look back. Because as men, we are being scammed. The average man will leave a surplus on the economy over the course of his life. The average woman will leave a deficit. The reason why is because men put more money into the economy than they take out, while women take out more than they put in. And if men stop working, if men stop paying into the welfare state, the whole damn thing collapses. I've said it already that a country without its men is not a country. A country without its men is a wasteland. And I called this over 10 years ago. I said, you're going to see this, men leaving the West, men walking away from Western society and leaving the West behind. And what we're seeing is men walking away from society and literally leaving the country. Even men who are not leaving the country are basically leaving society behind. They're becoming hermits. I'm the person who came up with the concept of the man going their own way hermit. You know, I popularized the term monk, and then I came up with the term hermit, because now what you have are these men who are choosing to be hermits. They're choosing, they don't want relationships with men or women. Are there some dudes who do? Yes. But there's a lot of men now who don't want relationships with men or women. They don't want close friendships with the men. They don't want romantic relationships with women. They want to be left the hell alone so that they can live in peace and just enjoy their damn lives. And who's responsible for this? Modern women. They have created a society and an environment that has led to this. There's not going to be any more handouts, y'all. There's not going to be any more financial assistance. It's over. Trump is going to cut all of that. All of these benefits. The financial grants have been paused. Modern women who made these decisions, they are now going to face consequences. And the thing about it is that if you're not able to take accountability for the decisions that you make, you will forever be a victim. And they will forever be victims because they will blame someone else and say that it was not my fault. Someone else's, it's men, it's the state, it's society. They will blame their emotions before they take accountability and say that I let my emotions control me and that I am to blame. They will blame God before they will take any accountability for what they've done. To this day, when I hear the story of, when I hear the story of Adam and Eve, and it's like you're supposed to believe everything so literal, but I do think about it. Is it that God, don't question it. Why? Is it that when Eve went to the tree and she saw the fruit, she came to the conclusion that if I eat the fruit, that means I'm going to be like God. And then she saw a little snake crawling around. That's if a snake was even there. She saw a snake in the tree and near the tree, and she saw a snake near the tree, and she thought to herself, well, if I get in any trouble, I'll just blame it on the snake. And when God spoke to her about it, she blamed it on the snake, and God cursed the snake, right? The curse of the snake was that the snake would basically spend its days on its belly and so forth. But what's very intriguing is, how do you know that that's not what the snake was already like? Because I hear that snakes used to have wings and they used to be able to fly and all of this stuff. But how do you know that the snake wasn't already on its stomach crawling around? And when God cursed the snake, the reality was that he was rebuking Eve. And by saying that he would curse the snake to lay out to forever crawl around on its stomach, it was already crawling around on its stomach, and God was just kind of letting her know. And I'm not saying this happened. I'm just saying, like, I thought that God was just letting her know, like, listen, bro, I know you lied to me. So I'm going to curse the snake, and nothing's going to happen to it, because it's exactly as it was before, just like you're lying to me. I know you're lying to me. I saw exactly what you did. I watched you do it. I'm everywhere. So why didn't you stop me? Because I gave you freedom of choice. I told you not to do it, and then you chose to do it anyway. It's the honest to goodness reality. It's the honest to goodness reality. And women will never be able to handle what they've done because they can never take accountability. They're bailed out of every bad decision that they make, and they think that they're going to be bailed out of any hardship that comes their way in the coming years. And I'm telling you right now, it's really not going to happen like that. They are going to face considerable amounts of hardship, and they're not going to know how to deal with it. And your focus as men should not be on women, on relationships. It should be on getting your money, and before all else, getting right with God. And one of the best ways to do that is with crypto. I'll ask you something. When the banks collapse, and trust me, it's coming, will you be ready? Imagine waking up to ATMs that don't work, bank doors chain shut, and millions of people left with nothing. No cash, no access to their savings, and no way to survive. But it doesn't have to be that way for you. That's why I created Angry's Crypto Academy, to teach you everything you need to know about crypto so you can protect yourself and your family. You'll learn how to buy, sell, and even day trade crypto for a living. Plus, we alert you to new crypto trends so you can profit before everyone else even knows what's happening. Right now, I've just published an exclusive investment guide inside the Academy, and it's linked in the description below. In it, I reveal the one coin that could make you a millionaire. A coin so revolutionary, it could change everything. If you missed out on Bitcoin and Ethereum, this is your second chance. This isn't just about financial freedom. It's about survival. When the system collapses and everyone else is selling, you'll be the one buying, prepared to weather the storm and thrive while others struggle to survive. Don't wait. This knowledge isn't optional, it's critical. The link's in the description. Go check it out now.
What's going to happen is that we're still going to see inflation. Matter of fact, we might be on the verge of hyperinflation right now because so much money printing. Excuse me, I'm highway, a lot of traffic, so it's a lot of traffic. But I don't see it changing. A whole lot of money printing going on, so that's gonna keep coming. Also with that, it's gonna be some more, it's gonna be higher taxes. So if you have taxes and inflation, what's the Marvin Gaye song? Make me wanna holler. The way they do my life. Man, I'll encourage anyone, or I encourage everybody that hasn't listened to that song to go listen to that song. Inner City Blues by Marvin Gaye. I mean, the man was so prophetic. He was a prophet. I don't know if I said that word right, but he was a prophet, man. I mean, there's one line in the song that says, hold on, I can get my thoughts. So he says, inflation, no chance to increase finance. I mean, and this was the 70s. But of course that makes sense because in the 70s, there was also rampant inflation going on. Because I think then, that's when OPEC, the oil companies, not oil companies, but it's oil nations, they had an embargo on a lot of Western countries in terms of not selling them oil. So what happened is that they had an embargo saying, hey, we're not going to sell oil to a lot of, my bad, I'm crossing the street, but they're not going to sell a lot of oil to a lot of Western countries. So as a result of that, a lot of the countries out in the West, the US included, suffered high inflation because the price of barrels of oil was going up. And a lot of OPEC countries wasn't trading with them. So in the 70s, we incurred a lot of inflation. But that song, I mean, that song is timeless. I mean, it's timeless. So, yeah, I mean, can't afford nothing here, man. I can't afford nothing. Then your standards of living has went down incredibly, especially within the past decades, especially around after the sickness situation that happened about 4 years ago. So the standards of living has gone down, and that's a tribute to high prices, inflation, taxation. So we have all those ingredients combined with a deficit in the trillions. Average person is going to be in a whole lot of mess.
And who's very much to blame for this? The boomers. Who benefited the most from this? The boomers. Who are responsible for this? The boomers. And they say, don't call their names, keep their name out your mouth. No, it's the boomers. They think that we're going to sit quietly as they ride off into the sunset. A lot of them have stolen so much from us, and they're still broke, and they're still heading towards homelessness because they took so much and they didn't save any of it. They just kept parting it away. How many baby boomers squandered millions of dollars that their kids don't even know about, and now they're dead broke, and they're looking to their kids to give them a roof over their head and money in their pockets and food for their hungry bellies. This is a sad, and guys, it's not going to happen. There's Social Security. Trump's not going to cut their Social Security. He'll let them keep their Social Security. He'll let them keep their Medicare, but it's not going to be enough to survive. They're going to be facing homelessness because they destroyed Western society. They absolutely did. They stole everything. They basically kept on, raising rents. They kept on borrowing money and demanding that the government borrow more and more money to pay for the things that they wanted. So the government kept printing more and more money, and they printed this money using government bonds. And what do they use? And what are government bonds? They're just debt. They're just debt that they sell to other countries, and then they promise to pay interest on those bonds, and in return for holding America's debt. But America can no longer even pay back the interest on these bonds. And the reason why they need inflation is because they need the value of those bonds to decrease substantially so that they can then pay the interest on them. But if the value of the bonds decrease substantially, then the countries that hold the bonds end up losing. And that's their way of shifting the burden to other countries. So it's basically everyone gets taxed. So you're betraying the people who purchased your bonds, and then you're betraying your citizens. You're stealing from everyone. That's what the boomers did. They kept all of their money in things like tangible assets, like the stock market, real estate specifically. And as they kept borrowing and borrowing and borrowing through the government, and the government kept paying for the luxuries of the boomers, it resulted in hyperinflation. So the value of properties now skyrocketed. So a house that cost $141,000 10 years ago can now go for 1.4 million. Not 10 years ago, 20, 25, 30 years ago, is now going for $1.4 million, and no one can explain why. It's hyperinflation. The boomers basically stole our futures while we were still in diapers, and we never had a real shot at life because we had no real tangible assets. And then they talk crap like Kevin O'Leary. He's talking down to millennials. He knows to keep Gen X out of his mouth, and they always forget about Gen X, which is a great thing because that's the way we like it. But he's saying stop complaining. Work two. He said this recently, like a year or two ago. Stop complaining. Work 2-3 jobs and buy a house and have some kids. That is just to show you how disconnected the boomers are from society, from everything. And they think that it's going to continue going on. And then I see the boomers pretending to be someone else are the spawn of the boomers, trying to defend them and say it's not them. It's everyone is to blame, or they didn't do it. It's their parents. The greatest generation is to blame. They gave them everything. The silent and the greatest generation are the ones who are actually they're despicable, and they're the ones responsible for this. Or it's the corporations. Guys, it's the boomers. They are the wealthiest generation in the history of the world. They are wealthier than people during the heights of the Roman Empire. And during the heights of the Roman Empire, the average Roman citizen did not have to work. They would be given housing, food, shelter, everything would be subsidized by the empire. What ended up happening though is as women began gaining more rights and they came to the conclusion they did not need men anymore. Men basically were basically pushed out of society, and they refused to subsidize the living of women. They refused to marry and have children. So the only men that were having children with women were thugs, Chad and Tyrone. Women were running off to the Colosseum and picking up gladiators. Men refused to date, refused to marry, and began to remain single. They were called worse than all of the criminals in all of Rome. They were barred from going to the Colosseum or any public events. They were forced to run the streets during the wintertime, chain gang style, and still they would not marry. Within 100 years, the empire no longer had a military. The empire was no longer producing anything or anything of value, had no actual wealth, and anything that it had was being used to subsidize women. The barbarians came along, realized that the emperor had no money, could not protect, had no money, no military. When the emperor tried to pay the barbarians in land for not they were barbarians. We called it. They said mercenaries. They were barbarians. Pay the barbarians in land for not to protect the empire. It was really not to invade the empire. The barbarians called the emperor's bluff, realized the emperor had no clothes, pillaged the Roman Empire. We were plunged into 1,000 years of darkness, where the Catholic Church then ruled over humanity for 1,000 years. And that's where we got all of that stuff like witchcraft and all of that horrible stuff that happened during that time, including the bubonic what. And that really happened as a result of poor hygiene and a lack of sanitation, which is something that even though they didn't know as much as we did, they did still practice some relatively decent levels of sanitation during the Roman Empire. That completely vanished with most knowledge of humanity, and people went through an age of extraordinary darkness, and humanity almost completely fell. And this is because of how women reacted in society, basically believing they were better than men and pushed men out of society, and then everything fell apart. And we're seeing this happen right now, and the boomers are the architects of this. They are the architects of chaos. They're the architects of destruction. They're the architects of our pain. They're the architects of our suffering. They will start talking about taking accountability and responsibility. And yet almost half of every tax dollar collected in the United States goes towards subsidizing the living of the boomers. So why is the wealthiest generation in the history of the world receiving roughly half of every single dollar? Oh, because we're entitled to it. We paid into the system. No, you did not pay into the system, to the point where half of every tax dollar must now subsidize you. And what about future generations? You know what they say? That's not my problem. This is how they think. They are the most selfish group of people to ever walk the face of the earth. Before the boomers came, guys, the boomers destroyed the family unit. If you go to other countries like Italy, it is still normal for a young man to remain with his parents, with his mother, until he marries. In American society, before the baby boomers, you had a family. You had the family unit. You had multiple generations living under one roof. There are many of you who are like, well, I needed to get away from my parents. You're not wrong. We're all the same way because our parents were absolutely terrible, but it was never like that. Okay? It was never like that. The family is how you create intergenerational wealth, by sharing resources, by living together. Everyone in the household has to have their own house, has to have their own car, has to have all of these different things. You are no longer sharing resources and helping to create value and then grow wealth collectively. No, what you're doing now is you're basically enriching corporations and the state. And then if you don't understand this point, because you have been the idea of individualism and separatism has now been so ingrained into all of us that we can no longer live together, work together, or even be friends with one another. If you went back 50, 60 years ago, men used to have something like a minimum of 2 to 3 close friends. Now the average man has no close friends and very few, if any, distant friends. Most men have no friends at all. Most men have no support system at all. And women have been living off the subsidizations for men and the state for 50, 60 years now. And what's going to happen when that goes away? It's basically the floor falls out and they will not be able to survive. And you guys are going to witness as society, guys, within the coming years, you're going to witness global society is going to say, how did American women end up in the terrible conditions that they are currently in? Because as things get worse, men are ironically going to get wealthier because the average man can live in a shoebox comfortably at the side of the road. The average woman cannot. And as a result of it, you're going to see most women now living in extraordinary states of poverty and destitution because there will be no more subsidiaries to subsidize their living. Most men are not getting married anymore, and having children anymore. They're avoiding the welfare state entirely. They're like, hashtag not me. I'm not going to be that victim. I'm not going to get trapped and paying and spending money for the rest of my life. Any man who goes out and does that, no one feels sorry for him anymore. Because at this point, every man knows what the dangers of getting married are. Men are waking up. Even the simps are scared. And the simp economy is moving overseas. So if women don't have the state to turn to, and women don't have men to turn to, and they can't do it on their own because men are struggling to survive, and we're the ones who create 99% of all wealth, 80% of all wealth, then what are they going to do? It doesn't take a genius. No, guys, I'm not a genius. I just listen. I learn. I pay attention. I use critical thinking and common sense, which I understand. It's in short supply today. But if they're not goddesses, they are not gods, they are human beings. And the average woman was not designed to live without a husband. And for those of you that say that you know a lot of women that are doing well on their own, do they have children? Do they have family? Because a woman who is single, childless, she is miserable. The average woman who is single, childless, she is miserable. And a lot of them are doing worse financially than you would ever know, but you would never know it because they don't talk about it. And they make it look like they're doing wonderfully because there's something wicked inside of them. There's something wicked inside of a lot of the older generation where it's just like there's I don't know what is wrong with them. It's money. It's guys, they say money is the root of all evil, and it's true. There's some type of evil inside of them. It's like, and they will never change. No matter what pain or suffering they go through, they cannot be humbled. I know you guys will say God can humble anyone. Let me tell you something. I want you to think about it. God can bring anyone to their knees. He can. But I guess you don't understand. He can bring anyone to their knees. He can make people feel regret, but he does not he can, but he does not forcibly change our hearts. He can do things that could lead to change, but he chooses not to control us. He gives us choice. And there are so many people, specifically among the boomer generation and modern women, you cannot change their hearts because it's a part of who they are and their character. So no matter what you say or do, they will always remain the same. They will always continue to think this way and act this way and believe these things because it is a part of their character. It is a part of their being. It's sad, but it's true. They cannot change. Even at the very end of their lives, they cannot change. No amount of suffering, they may regret the consequences, but they will never truly regret their actions. They will never say, what I did was wrong to these people. I did not treat them fairly. I did not treat my children fairly. I did not treat the men in my life fairly. I was wrong. I did and they cannot reflect. They will never repent. That's the thing. They cannot repent. As a man, I repent for simping. I repent for the mistakes I've made. I repent for those who I've wronged. I realize that even if I say, you know what, we both played a role in this, I still repent for it. And I genuinely feel at least some form of regret and wish I could make penance for what I have done. They don't have this. They don't have those qualities. And I've seen it. I've seen it in my own life. I've seen it with the boomers. I've seen it with my boomer parents. I've seen it with modern women. They cannot change. It is not something possible for them to change. They've always been like this. By the time they were about 7 years old, their personalities were already set in stone, and they will never change to the end. I've seen it. It's impossible for them to change. Some people go, nothing is impossible. Listen to me. It's the way that they think. It's their core nature. They are crooked. Look at Queen, guys, they have the Jezebel spirit within them. Queen Jezebel, to my understanding, could have been spared. Her life could have been spared. She even at the very end, I believe, she could have still been spared had she repented. She refused. She was basically told, I believe, in advance of how her ending would come about. And she knew how her ending would come about. And to my understanding, she may still have been able to repent prior to all of that. And she chose a horrible ending for herself because she refused to repent. Even she knew what was coming. She knew what was coming. She knew what was going to happen. And she was so wicked that she still chose to refuse to repent. And who ultimately ended up doing her in, to my understanding, was her own servants. And what happens when weak men do not stand up to women who do these things? You see what happens. Her husband, he had the child. Jezebel did a lot of bad things. For example, there was a story where her husband wanted to buy some, he was a king, he wanted to buy some land. And the man who owned the land wouldn't sell the land. So what did Jezebel do? She basically took the man out. She control-alt-deleted him, and with him now, I believe, and with him control-alt-deleted, the king was now, instead of the king seeing what the evils of his wife, putting her in prison once and for all, no, he went and got the land. This is how these people are. They will never ever change. And these men, they will go along with it because the average man just wants access to kitty and money. This is how most men are today. That's what they're wired for. They will destroy another man's life for someone who does not even care about them. For someone who does not even like them. And then when these things happen, then they want to blame everyone else. They want to blame every man. They want to blame society. Bro, you chose to go down this path. You chose to betray everyone for this individual, and now you want to take no accountability for any of it? You don't want to take any accountability for anything that you did? But of course, we have three generations of men that were now raised by women. So a lot of these men know nothing about masculinity. This is why when I've talked to a bunch of men in the polls and I said, do you repent for simping? There are some men who repent. There are a lot of men who refuse to repent because they say they were not in control of themselves. They didn't know any better, so they didn't do anything wrong. Hence, they will not repent. They won't do it again, but they're not going to repent because they were not in control of themselves or they didn't know any better at the time. So you didn't know any better. Because you didn't know any better, you did horrible things. You potentially hurt a lot of other people, and you refuse to repent for your actions. Do you see? That's feminine behavior. That's female behavior. That's female behavior that predominantly women exhibit, where they don't take any accountability for the things that they've done and use plausible deniability to shift blame to someone else or something else. You know, that it really, really goes hand in hand with the saying that, let me see if I can repeat it carefully for you. Strong men, hard times create strong men. Strong men create good times. Good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times. So, in an earlier video, guys, I actually showed you this list. It was actually pretty interesting. And it was a list of a man sends wife a spreadsheet of all the times she denied him physical intimacy. And I'm not going to go through it the way I did in the previous video, but as you guys can see, it's pretty crazy. So, you starts off and she would give him different answers. Watching TV, I feel sweaty and gross. I need to shower, doesn't shower till the next day. I'm exhausted. And, basically, like, for example, after 7 days of saying no, she says yes. Then it's another 9 days of saying no and giving him a bunch of different reasons. Everything from she feels she needs to watch her show to, she's sleepy, or that he's too drunk, or I'm too drunk and I ate too much. This is absolutely crazy stuff. So at one point she says that she's too drunk, and then another point she says that he's too drunk. And what she'll do is so a week goes by, no physical intimacy. Then she says yes. 9 days go by, so just under 2 weeks, and he's asking like every day or every other day or every 3 days, and she says no, 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 no. And then finally, after about a week and a half, she says yes. And then it goes on like this again. From there, she keeps gaslighting him and giving him more different excuses every single day. And he'll try maybe 3 days later, 4 days later, she'll no, 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 no. And then finally, after like 2 weeks, she says yes. And then from there, it's no again every day. Someone made a very good point about this. And he's on one of my in the comment section regarding this. And he said, if that guy quit asking, she would suspect him of various shenanigans for sure. She knows exactly what she's doing. She knows exactly what she's doing. And if he would basically ever give up on asking her for physical intimacy or for trying, she would instantly start saying that he's cheating on her. And I guarantee you right now that she is cheating on him. When you can tell, if you have a woman because women like physical intimacy more than we do. So if you have a woman who's relatively still young, in her 30s, 40s, even 50s, right? And forget about 20s, it's just a given. And she's denying physical intimacy at this level. The reality is that Little Poncho has been blowing the back out. Little Poncho has been clapping the cheese. Little Poncho, Chad, and Tyrone have been rolling in and rolling out. That's really what's going on. Because if that was not happening, then she would want physical intimacy from you. Unless you're like really overweight and really unattractive. And even then, I'm telling guys, it wouldn't happen. I'll tell you the reason why. Most men will still find a woman who is heavier attractive. So if you have a wife, if a man is in a relationship with a woman and he's physically fit and good looking, but his wife is, let's say, overweight, if that's all he has to work with, that's all he has to work with, and he's still going to work with it. If he's not cheating on her, then he's still going to work with that. Women like intimacy more than we do. So it doesn't matter. Even if you are an overweight guy in a relationship with a woman, if she is only with you and she's not going out to the streets to have her needs met, then she is, then she's going to be intimate with you. I'm being honest with you. If you're all that she has to work with, she's going to work with you. I'm not lying. I'm being honest with you. Because society has conditioned us as men to make us believe that women are more valuable than we are, and that we have to work even harder than women for them to find us attractive, while we'll basically find the most basic Becky attractive. This isn't true. The only reason why women are so hyper selective today is because of all the options that they now have as a result of social media and being able to put themselves online. Instagram is essentially a dating application for most women today. It's an app that they use to find men. I'm telling you guys, this is the reason why most men are now gone for good. This is the reason why most men are now walking away from society and focusing on getting their money. I just want to tell you a little bit about the Crypto Trading for Dummies blueprint. With this blueprint, you'll learn how crypto day trading can help you earn daily profits, even starting small. Imagine making $30 a day with $100, or even hundreds daily trading small amounts. Working just an hour a day. It's written so simply that even a fifth grader can do it. With banks collapsing and the economy in chaos, this skill is your lifeline. Click the link in the description to check it out now.
Because one, even if you find some kind of job that pays a little something, depending where he's living at, it really doesn't matter. Cost is going to eat him up. So they won't be able to save, just like I won't be able to save anything. especially long term. And when I mean long term these days, it's like 5 years, between 1 to 5 years. Right now, that's long term. Because hey, I can't even look 20 years down the road. Oh man, it's gonna be absolute best. I already, you know, I'm not Nostradamus, but I see trends and I study history. And like they say, history might not ever repeat itself, but it definitely rhymes. So, hey, I am definitely listening. And hey, the word is, yo, I can't even do it no more. Can't even do it. So, like I say, I said all that to say, those are really factors in my reasoning for leaving here. Preferably, I'm giving myself a few years, you know, to really come out with start planning and things of that nature. So, because my previous times in Brazil, I really learned a lot. And that's another reason for me wanting to leave. It's the fact that I can learn a lot there. I can learn a lot here, but like I said before, I mean it's kind of like I'm beating a dead horse here. Yeah, I mean I could learn a few things, but I mean the skills that I would like pretty much learn in Brazil, I mean, or anywhere else in the world, I mean it's gonna be valuable. First, the fact that, you know, I speak English, you know, and there, you know, they speak Portuguese. Speaking another language, that's a skill. And you can go a long way with it. So that's a start. That's definitely a start. So, but yeah, it's like I said, I can't really do it anymore. Can't really do it anymore. So this is just, you know, I'm just taking this walk, and this is like my therapy, you know. I like just pretty much walked, you know what I mean, walk to work, and, you know, if the weather's nice, just walk, man. And I get to think about a lot of stuff, and, you know, yeah, man, just clear my head. But that's where I'm at. So, yeah, man, just, yeah. Just let me know. Y'all let me know, man. Y'all let me know, man. Am I talking crazy right now? Or, you know what I mean? Or you feeling the same way? Especially, you know, if you're what I call if you're a millennial, you know, Gen Y, Gen Y and Gen, what is it? I don't know all the generation letters, but pretty much you're a millennial, or, you know what I'm saying, you're kind of like around 25, somewhere like that. And you know, you just, especially you don't have any like major responsibilities, like you don't have you don't have any kids, you know, stuff like that. You know, y'all let me know, man. Like, are y'all on that wave where, as far as like, I'm looking in the future and it's like, there's nothing here for me, I'm just gonna be a slave here all my life? I might as well, if I'm gonna be a slave, let me be a slave elsewhere and pick up, you know, learn something in another country. I mean, you can only go up from there, you know what I'm saying? Of course, you know, make sure you get everything together here before you do that, but, you know, just, you know what I'm saying, don't wait too long. You know, just find like a balance, some kind of medium where it's like, okay, I'm going to do these things right here, and at this certain time, I'm gonna go ahead and make that move. Like I say, don't wait, especially if you don't have a lot of responsibilities on your hand, you know. So the only thing really that's really pretty much is keeping me here, you know, the fact that I have older parents, like elderly, you know, so I want to make sure they're all right. Cause like I said, hey, man, it really went for them, man. I'll still be in Brazil right now. Just, you know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, y'all definitely let me know how y'all feeling, man. In terms of I'm feeling you, man. It's like, yo, it's in a certain amount of years or months, whatever, hey, I'm gonna save this money, you know, and I got nothing to lose. I'm gonna go to fill in the blank country, you know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna, you know, hey, trying to make something out of here, man, you know? So, yeah, definitely. So, but yeah, and I just wanted to talk to y'all about that.
People are already fed up with the boomers. They absolutely are. But you can see the statistics here. You can see that I'm not lying to you about these people. Look at this. This is a article that came out pretty recently. It was published on May 17th, 2024. So about a little less than a year ago. Check this out. We need to fix the federal safety net. American boomers own a staggering 50% of US wealth. Did you see that, guys? 50% of all American wealth is held by baby boomers, but they're becoming homeless at an alarming rate. What gives? Because of irresponsibility. Oh my gosh. Baby boomers might have the highest net worth by generation, but experts say that wealth looks very different once you dive more deeply into the demographics. Sure, the group holds about half of all US wealth, with much of it tied up in real estate because they kept most of their money in real estate while then printing money endlessly, so the value of their real estate would forever keep on going up while the value of our money would go down, and the people who hold that money and work for that money are younger generations. So they're the ones. So as the boomers work fewer hours and drop out of the workforce, they basically have access to everything because they have the research, they have real estate, so they just keep on refinancing, and they don't plan to ever stop until they pass away. They never planned on paying back their mortgages. They're just going to live off the equity in their homes until they pass away, and then the bank can worry about it afterwards. We are now becoming a nation of renters. To continue, but it's mainly attributed to older boomers born between 1946 and 1954. Younger boomers, on the other hand, are increasingly sliding into homelessness, a problem experts say is rooted in major events that took place as they entered adulthood. We need to fix the federal safety net. University of Pennsylvania social policy professor Dennis Culhane says in an interview with the Wall Street Journal, we should not have destitute elderly or disabled people in the richest country on earth. Yes, guys, so they're going to call it a national disgrace. The generation that holds 50% of all wealth in the United States, the generation where half of every tax dollar, roughly half every tax dollar, is being spent on them. More needs to be done to help them. In other words, we need to print even more trillions of dollars, because we're already spending trillions of dollars to pay their Social Security every single year. So we need to print even more trillions of dollars so that we can give them a comfortable retirement. I really don't see it happening for them. I don't see it happening for them. They're hoping that Trump is going to bring the good times. They're hoping that Trump is going to, funnel more money through Social Security and increase Social Security benefits. By how much? $100, $200? It's not. No. Like by double. By double. So instead of getting $2,000 a month or $2,500, which many of them won't even be getting, they would need to get like $5,000 or $6,000 a month. Because the average boomer spends around $50,000, $49,000 a year. So they would need to raise social safety nets up to these levels to sustain the boomers. The same boomers that taught us that, hey, life is hard, man. They threw us out when we were young, told us don't come back. And these boomers, we're now supposed to continue finding even more money to subsidize your living that doesn't exist by printing more money, resulting in even higher levels of inflation. But it's the right thing to do because we owe it to our elderly, we owe it to our seniors. We owe it to our parents who owed us absolutely nothing. But no, they did all the hardships that they put us through. The fact that we are all suffering because they gaslit us, stole from us, hustled us, and finessed us. Oh no, it's not what you think, man. And God doesn't like the way you're talking. Guys, they used religion as a weapon to control our minds. Jesus, help us. I don't care if you don't want to believe me or not. I don't know how much time I have left. I'm going to be honest. I'm 41. I'll be 42. But only God knows how much time I have left. At this point, I'm just going to speak the truth. And I don't care. You can complain in the comments and I'll just block you when you start talking your jazz and trying to defend these people. I don't care. I don't care about your explanation. You're just gaslighting and trying to cover for a group of absolute narcissists. And that's what I do. I block you as quickly as I can. You can create another account and another account. And I'll keep blocking you and then blocking you some more. Because while I don't think every single boomer is bad, I think it's like Gen Z where it's the vast majority. You're dealing with a generation of extreme narcissists, and they can't change because it's a part of their personality and character. It is a type of wicked that is within these individuals, and it will never change. They can never change because this is who they are as people. It's sad. Younger boomers in peril. Federal data shows more than 1 in 5 Americans facing homelessness last year were aged 55 or older. Experts say this group makes up the fastest growing segment of unhoused population, homeless people. So boomers make up the fastest growing segment of homeless people, guys. Think about that very carefully. The generation that holds 50% of all the wealth, the generation that owns 80% of the stock market, the generation that is wealthier than any other generation in the history of the world, the generation where half of every tax dollar collected is spent upon them. They're the fastest growing segment of the homeless population. And we need to basically fix federal safety nets. So it's not that, it's not even the fact that Social Security is going to run out. No. We need to create more safety nets. We need to boost the amount of money and resources going to the boomers by more than half. So they're already getting a roughly half, but they need even more than that. So now maybe about 3/4 of every tax dollar connected. They're getting half of it now, but maybe about 3/4 of every tax dollar collected go to subsidize their living. And there's no more money. So where do you get it? You just print more and pass it, and inflation, which results in higher inflation. And of course, what is inflation? Inflation is just reverse taxation. And they think we're so stupid. That's the thing about the boomers. They can never change. They will continue to say, guys, it's like the mainstream media. And guys, who still pays attention to the mainstream media? Who still follows and supports the mainstream media? The boomers. It's a corrupt media for corrupt people. Oh my gosh. All right. So Culhane's research indicates younger boomers have actually made up about 1/3 of the homeless population for decades, especially after a resurgence in homelessness in the 1980s. Why? Part of the problem is that the second half of the boomer generation grappled with major hurdles as they came of age. They faced a very crowded housing market. Prices were were escalating, says Culhane. Young adults in particular faced the challenge of getting entry into the labor market. To make matters worse, the crack epidemic in the 1980s impacted many of this cohort, leading to them struggling with homelessness and remain at risk as they aged as well. So basically, guys, the boomers they've had it really hard for the last 40 or 50 years right now. So the younger members of the boomers, they were really struggling 40 to 50 years ago. You're seeing this, guys. I'm not making this up. So So things like the CRACK epidemic back in the 80s, that also really hurt them, and they've never been able to come back since then. 40 years ago, 50 years ago, back when the housing market wasn't that great back then. My father purchased his home for less than $150,000 back in like 1990. Was it 97? It's been 28 years, and that house is now worth about $1 million. Okay, the same house he kicked us out of. My boomer father. I'm just giving you this is guys, these are devils. These people stole our futures while we were still in diapers. And now they're crying, oh my gosh, life is so hard, woe is me. You don't understand how hard things were for us 40 or 50 years ago. It's the people that were around, it's the really old boomers that benefited. The guys that were born back in 1946, they grew up during the 60s, and the 60s were a great time, man. They had all the opportunities in the 60s, but by the 70s everything was ruined, man. Back in the by 1975, the average house already cost something like $35,000, man. We were struggling back then too. This is guys, these people, that same $35,000 house is now worth $3.5 million. Bad apples, man. Bad apples. I told you about these people. And by the way, shout out to the 1 Hour Gang. Shout out to the 1 Hour Gang. If you've made it this far, shout out to the 1 Hour Gang. Give yourself a pat on the back. What do you think regarding all of this, guys? What do you think? Most men going their own way are leaving America for good, and they're leaving because society no longer has anything for them. Let me know your thoughts. We'll talk about it in the comments. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWA and walking away. And cheers.
Nothing says you care like crypto. Nothing can compare. Nothing says you care like crypto. Oh, nothing can compare to crypto.